Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday. So, we are here in For the Love of Dragons, going live, because that's what we do every Thursday. So, hello for all of those new members. We seem to have a lot lately. I'm so excited to see the group growing so rapidly. My name is Araya. I am Araya Anra. I am also known as Tana in my dragon form. And I am here as your guide. Hello, Londa. Good to see you. I come live every week to answer your questions because this journey and the reason you found this group is because you have dragons in your field, or you love them and you don't know why, or a healer of some kind saw them in your field. Hello, Linda. And you found your way here. Why and how does that magic happen? Well, sometimes it's a referral of a friend, but most often it's your guides. Hello, Marcy. Putting you on this path, hello Gabriella, of getting you where you need to be, getting the information you need to have. So there's something in this group for you. There's some piece that's going to trigger your next level of growth, your next expansion, and that's exciting. That's what I'm here for. That's basically why I do what I do all day, every day, in helping people get on track with their path, with the dragons. And that's funny. Gabriella just uploaded a picture with a dragon. Of course, that's how you ended up here. Hello, Leanna. So we've got an interesting question today, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the collective and energetically, and you guys can probably all feel it. Yes, I just said your name, Gabriella. Hello. Glad to see you. So this question was from Tanya. She's up in the Netherlands. And hello, Jackie. Your clocks are not moving for a few more weeks. Oh, right. So we did go through a time change. So that is why everybody's sort of like off right now. And maybe we're catching some more of the European crowd today because you haven't changed yet and we have. So we're a little bit closer together. So only 8 hours. So you're not up quite so late. So that's a bonus of the early time change. And I'll say it's very odd that we changed so early. It's somehow connected to when Easter is. Easter is also early, but I'm sorry, in my opinion, I think it should be related to the daylight, how much daylight there is, because isn't that what daylight savings is about? So apparently we changed last Sunday, the 8th here in the United States, and it is nice to enjoy more light, but it did feel really odd and early this year, which, you know, we're having an early spring, so I guess it all fits. But going into this question, I wasn't going to address, because there's so much panic and fear around the world, and the coronavirus and what it's bringing, but I know it's part of everyone's consciousness and part of the collective, and I think I'm not going to address it directly, but it's going to come up in relation to this question because Tanya's question, which is really beautiful, she's been reflecting on her connection to Tiamat and events with the dragons and her feeling DNA shifts and some big stuff going on. She's like feeling this big energy push and pull in the collective. And so her question was, how can we how can the dragons help us to clear at the base chakra, so the root chakra, in relation to the father and the mother? So I'm going to interpret this question as I feel it coming energetically to me. She's a non-native English speaker, so I tried to piece together what she was saying. First off, the base chakra is the root chakra. It is about our survival instinct. It is about fear. It is about our innate sense of, wow, am I going to be okay? Can I get by in the world? That's that first core part of life when you come out and you're trying to breathe, you're gasping for breath. So any issues in the root chakra are going to be connected to that. And she is tuning in that. That is in play right now with what's happening globally, with the global community, with this virus spreading around and creating this big welling of fear, panic, emotion. It's a survival instinct. There's a lot churning in the root chakra, definitely. So in connection to that, how can the dragons help us clear this? And for me, in relation to the father and the mother, is always in relation to Mother, Father, God, this divine source aspect. And it is really triggered this year because we're in 2020 is, it feels like a really special year in terms of the energetic alignments and what's on offer here as far as our leaps forward. It feels like a lot's going to happen this year in a big way. And so for me, that always puts us more in the light of getting closer to divine, getting closer to that divine truth, connection to Mother, Father, God. And if we have survival, fear, impulses, and we have a lot of energy turning in the root chakra, that tends to come up in question. That tends to be a piece that pushes us into really reflecting on, wow, is there a Mother, Father, God? Is there anything beyond this life? If I was to perish, what, in my survival mode, why you're here and why you're knowing, looking to know why you feel a connection to dragons. So let me address that later, Gabrielle. I'm going to finish this line of question first. And this is definitely when our energy is churning, and right now it is churning in the collective, in the base chakra, in fear, in survival, in this panic mode of, wow, are we going to keep going? What's it going to look like tomorrow? What's happening? This is craziness. And when we go into that place, it's because there is a question drawing in that relation to Mother, Father, God, to creation, to divine, to what's beyond this plane. And it begs us to move into a space of fear of death. And I feel like that's one of the underlying energetics. There's always, in every situation, and this is what's happening, I feel, globally with this virus, there's some higher reasons for it. There are always higher energetic reasons behind everything that happens to us, whether it's us globally, collectively, as humanity, individually. When you can step into the higher perspective and get up here to look at it from a different angle, then you start to see and feel the real truth underlying it. And what is this taking humanity into? So in relation to this question, I love that Tanya brought this up, because we are in this churning of root chakra survival energy. What does that put you into as an individual? And as an individual, if it's happening to a lot of individuals, then it's happening to the collective. And this, I feel, is one of the things that's part of the underlying reason from a spiritual perspective of what's happening globally. So looking at how many people, because of this, whether they are infected with the virus or not, or affected some way because of their life, people they're exposed to, their work shutting down, business trips canceled, whatever it is, everybody's going to be affected in some way. Maybe it's what's stocked on the shelves in your stores or not. Everyone's going to be touched by this sort of, wow, how's this going to affect me? How's this going to take me into the next phase? And so the bigger piece is that everyone's going to be having this question rise, that is that base root level fear, and turning to that inner questioning of, do I have a fear of death? Do I have something that puts me in a place of panic about transitioning to a different experience of my soul that may or may not, if I move forward and I don't have a body anymore, what does that mean? And because collectively across the planet, there's a large percentage of people that don't see anything beyond death. They don't have or know a God, or they haven't really pursued a spiritual path. And I feel like events like this create that opportunity to look and feel into the bigger picture, because where we're at, the bell curve is shifting forward. There is so much work being done dimensionally and energetically on the front of that bell curve of humanity that is pushing us into new dimensional spaces, into that plane of the harmonic living community that humanity was designed to have. We're moving into that template, and as this big shift happens, the back of the bell curve has to come along. So if there's a majority in the bell curve that are in a place that have no conception of a spiritual anything energetically beyond this human form, then there will be events, whatever they are, possibly this virus, that make humans look at that bring it up for them in their energetic template, their emotional bodies, so that it gets questioned. So they start contemplating and feeling those fears. And once you feel the fear, you can get underneath it and go, oh, wow, I feel this because I don't know what would happen if I was to die. And I gotta say, in my spiritual journey, I had a teacher years ago who, gratefully so, pushed us into some really deep work on looking at shadow and looking at our own fear of death and imagining like our worst death, because all of us have some frame of reference of a death or an event that would be the worst way to die. And there's an underlying piece of all right, what would be the worst for me? And can I imagine that? Can I put myself in that and allow myself to contemplate it? Because when you move into the fear, you move through the fear, and then it's not there anymore. And then you actually live in a greater level of freedom. So that's one piece here. And the dragons, the question was, how can the dragons help us deal with this root level energy and clearing it in connection to Mother Father? So I would encourage, and I feel like the black and the white dragons are very present with humanity right now. We've had a lot of work with the elementals, clearing based things over the last years. And I know that as we move into a more crystalline aspect of the planet, the core of the planet's already shifted to diamond from crystal, means that the black and the white dragons are very present. The female black dragon is back online as of November 2018, right? And so that larger frequency of bringing it into union, the black and the white now are ready to spiral into each other to realign not only our DNA, reactivate all the dormant strands, but also the planetary, because this is for Gaia. We are always a reflection of what's happening for Gaia. So the black and the white dragons, I would say, are the ones that can help us the most right now. The black dragon takes you into shadow. It takes you into your fears. It takes you into that stuff that you don't want to look at, that's churning at the base of your spine, that's churning in your root chakra. If you will go and call on the black dragon, you will start to get clarity about it. And the white dragon is going to hold that, the space of the opposition of that, of the reverse of it, that will take you into clarity and allowance of divine to come in. Because that divine stream of energy that comes in when they merge and you get to move towards accessing the crystal and dragon frequencies and that line up through divine Mother, Father, God connection, those are the two dragons that I would say right now are going to be the most helpful to come in, because that white energy will come in, it'll soothe, it'll expand and create space for you. Because space is what you need and actually to move through the fear and the shadow. If you're in a tight, balled up place when you're working through this stuff with that black dragon, and you can feel the compression when you work with the black dragon, you can feel what shadow and fear and this does to your energy body and your emotional body. When you're in that space, the beauty of calling in the white dragon simultaneously is that the white dragon brings the expansion and the surrender. It brings a space to pull the compression out, because in the compression it gets hard to see the truth. It gets hard to see every little bit that's sort of stuck together. And so the expansion comes in and allows you to actually pick apart and feel, oh my goodness, that's what that's about. Oh my goodness, that's what's over here. And it helps clear it out and push it out of your field, so that then you can realign to a new higher level of truth, a new higher level of bringing energy in. And that's what gets you much closer to that next stream of Mother, Father, God frequency. Hello, Sam. So allowing that to come in and be present with you. The black and the white dragons, I feel so prevalent. And it's so interesting that this question came up today. I didn't have anything necessarily on my slate to talk about today, although these realizations about the bigger collective piece came in earlier this week. And I wasn't sure I would want to talk about it because it just spreads more energy about that. But I feel like bringing it in the context of the dragons and this bigger perspective to bring the expansion, to bring the surrender and allow it to move out so that it doesn't compress into fear and panic and can stretch out and find the solution, find the release, find the turning towards God. And so this question, I love that it's brought up black and white, because I literally clothed myself this morning. I've got a black skirt on and a white sweater. And interestingly, I chose this purple blouse. And when we're really, every morning when you get dressed, if you align to your emotional and energy body, you will wear what you need to be wearing that day. When you're drawn to things in your closet, there's a reason for it, because your energy body is trying to work through certain things. Hello, Anna. And having that color around you actually can help. So for me, interestingly, this is what I was feeling the energy of the day. This is what I was dressed in. And that purple is that higher perspective. It's taking you into the visionary and the intuitive openings to all of your clairs, which is where allowance and information can come in. So the other piece I wanted to share on that, I hope that answered Tanya's question, is the other underlying real truth in any global event like this. And I do feel like it's a bit out of proportion, a bit bigger than it needs to be, because of the fear churning mechanisms that media and all the other things put into play. But that doesn't undermine or lessen what's actually happening. There are a lot of families being affected. There are a lot of people and businesses and all these pieces being affected. But when we keep that perspective of what it's going to bring about as far as spiritual questioning for a lot of people. That is one positive that's going to come out of it, because there will be more people turning to actually contemplate or embrace what is beyond this physical, because there's so much beyond the physical. This is a very limited expression, and this has to be embraced, especially where we're at right now with 2020. The other beautiful piece I see about it is any large event like this, like the fires last year in California, they bring communities together. So look what this is doing as far as the global community and breaking down borders. And even though it's in some instances closing borders, there's a humanitarian global empathy body that is being touched, that brings everyone into a more collective consciousness as humanity, because everyone is being affected. I don't think there's many places in the world that aren't being touched on some level by this. And that, if you want to say there's any positives that are coming out of it, it's that type of global, communal, collective compassion body bringing it together that is, a silver lining, or the piece of, maybe the underlying truths of why it's happening for humanity involves these pieces. So how do the dragons help us? I feel like we're always divinely protected when we're in a space. I'm not actually worried about it. I'm not actually worried about contracting it. I know my 84-year-old father is, and of course I feel for him and am taking precautions to not bring my kids around or whatever until we know what's going on. But allowing myself to buy into the fear is not going to, it doesn't serve me. It's not my truth. I know the underlying aspect of I am protected. Even if that meant I was to get the coronavirus and die, I am protected. There's a divine reason if that was to happen. So stepping away from the fear of it and just allowing clarity, intuitive decision making, following your heart, and just listening. The dragons are here always with you, especially those that are in this group, those that are hearing and listening to this on the replay even. If you're catching it on YouTube, this is your community because you are connected to the dragons. And there was a question there I saw pop up, I think it was from Willow, about how can we ask the dragons for protection? You already have it. You already have divine protection. And you can actually, I know I used to, not related to this, but I used to post, and I feel like I always have 4 gold dragons at each corner of my property. They're just there as like a intimidation barrier, so to speak. If you feel to call in your dragon guides and say, I feel like I need a little more protection right now, and that might just be your own energetic sense of calming, when you're not in a calm, centered state of equilibrium, that's when you're susceptible to external germs or things. So maybe you need not a physical protection from contracting it, but that in that space of I can have the dragons around me and feel protected and safe and drop my fear, that it helps me relax a little bit and stress a little bit less, then that actually is beneficial for your immune system, right? So in that sense, yes, call your dragon guides forward. Say, I'm having all these emotions come up. Can you help me clear them? Which one of you wants to work with me to clear them? And I will say the air dragons, if you need perspective on this, if you need a way to go in and get your head clear about all the different things you're hearing from different sources and media and being bombarded, take a time out. Ask for a sphere of protection of divine light to get your own centered perspective on it, because your heart knows exactly what's going on. Your heart knows you don't need to fear anything. And in the greater picture, the more space that you hold, especially as a dragon or a light beam, and as a dragon that's connected to your light body, you hold a really big candle in the world. When we all will come together as dragon and hold a very centered, clear space of light, that's going to help appease and bring the energy body, bring the fear body that's around the collective back down into perspective, and allow everybody to listen to their heart and make the right choices. Whether that's being, I heard on the radio this morning, someone who actually knew they were positive, got on a flight and potentially infected another state of people because they were landing in another state, and all the people on the plane that would then go, out to their lives and communities. So being able to tune in and know what's the right decision, what's my intuitive heart know is the right thing to do in every situation, whether it's self-quarantining or saying, no, I'm not going to travel this time, or yeah, I feel okay to travel because I know that I'm not positive, and I know that even if I was to contract it, that I'm safe. So every single person's decision is right for them. But in this space of our dragon family, you have help you can call in. The black and the white dragons are going to come in and help you work through your own fears, shadows, anything that's being churned up and brought about by this, your own turning to that Mother, Father, God. And many of us, I know in my own journey ages ago, I was not able to look to Mother, Father, God in a way that I always believed in God. I was raised in church, and I'm glad you like that, Willow. So God was always there, but I found myself having a hard time because of my woundings around the masculine of being able to actually turn to Father God. Mother God was very easy. Turning to Father God and actually being able to hold my head up and look up at him, there were self-worth issues, there was self-esteem stuff churning in there that kept me from doing that. So maybe this is your opportunity to dive into that and allow yourself, as you're contemplating what's beyond this, what is my relationship to Mother, Father, God? And the dragons are an integral part of connecting to divine source and light. They are beings of God. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about God. We're here for dragons. I don't want to talk about God. But it's a divine, actual part of the journey. You cannot leave Mother, Father, God, or the divine or creator, or whatever you want to call it, out of the equation if you're actually going to return to your light body and be fully connected back in the way that we're supposed to be. So I hope that answered the question. It was a really great question, Tanya, and it was prevalent to what is going on in the world today, as well as with the dragons. So I hope everyone got something, even a little inkling out of this today that was helpful or insightful for you, and that will take you to your next level of your own awarenesses about what's going on for you with all that's going on energetically on the planet right now. So knowing that things will just keep rolling forward. We will move through this. There will be shifts and changes. And this is all part of the process. This is part of the shift. We are shifting forward. And in order to bring everybody forward with us, some big things like this are going to happen to bring that global community together and bring awareness of what's beyond this physical realm, because that's what we're opening to. If we're moving to a 5D world, if that's really on offer and we are actually shifting to that, there has to be a global, full human, at least a critical mass of humanity that actually consciously acknowledges that there is a fifth dimension beyond this 3D plane. That pure, simple, basic math. So I will say next week's live, I don't know what time of day or what day actually it's going to be. Spring break is upon us, and I will be off for the week with my kids. So I will try to do a live sometime in the week. We'll announce it that day and let you know, hey, watch for me today. So if you have questions, please message them to me, and we can address those next week. But next week we're going to just play it by ear and give you a surprise one day when you're not expecting it. So have a wonderful day and weekend, and we will see you next time. Always love coming to you guys. And keep in mind, I am still going to Japan, July 8th to the 15th. I know that I still need to go and activate the dragon under Mount Fuji and the entire grid of that sector that needs to be online. And anyone that knows that they're drawn to go with me, I know we are divinely protected, and I feel like this is all going to blow over by then. 3-4 months, it'll be a totally different game by then. So know there is an end in sight, and we just have to be patient to what that looks like. Dragon Hug 7, back to you, Linda. Thank you. And Jackie, you're welcome. What else? Just making you guys aware, dragonwithin.com site has there's 5 versions of the book, PDF, Kindle, EPUB, paperback, and hardback, French and Spanish of those. And there are some dragon meditations now in French and English. There's been English for a while. The French have been up for a little while, and just bringing you guys attention to that, because if you need some internal space time to start moving through some things, the meditations, having a guided dragon meditation can sometimes help to get you into those deep spaces. So know that that's out there as a tool for you, and I am constantly creating more, and there's more in process. So have a great one. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.